Hi guys, today is sod removal day. I am so excited and a little anxious. I do get a little anxious on big projects, but Mo is our foreman for the day. So I am in his hands and he is totally capable. So we should have a hopefully very smooth day. So we are going to be removing sod in the backyard behind the swale. That's where we have an issue with lesser celandine. So I'm trying to eradicate it with as little chemical intervention as possible. So I'm thinking if we remove the grass, we'll put some landscape fabric down, some topsoil and some mulch, and hopefully we can at least keep it at bay a little bit. I will probably have to spot treat a little, but I'm okay with that. And then in the front yard, we're enlarging one of the beds to put in a boxwood hedge and creating a new bed with a future walkway. Let me show you. So let's start in the backyard because this is going to be the last area that we work on. So we are in the backyard right now. This is the tail end of the butterfly garden. The swale starts right here, and I'm gonna stand right in the center of the swale, and you can see how it kind of just dips on both sides. Well, right here along the edge where the swale begins, all the way down to the end of the swale, and then everything back to the fence, we're going to scrape that part up, and then depending on how tired we are, we're going to lay some landscape fabric down, topsoil and mulch, and then just kind of let it all just sit for the season. And then as the lesser celandine starts to emerge, because it will come up in the swale a little bit because I did see it there last year, I will chemically treat it with a glyphosate and just spot treat it here, there, and everywhere. But this whole area back here is going to be the last section that we do because I don't want to start here and then cross-contaminate the sod cutter and then bring it out front, and then I could have like a tuber or a root or something, and I don't want to eventually spread it to the front yard. So that's the last project for this whole sod removal, is the swale in the back. Now we can make our way to the front yard, and I'll show you what our plans are for the front yard. We were out here last night with marking paint, marking lines as a general guide. So you'll see a lot of orange lines everywhere, but hopefully we have it down packed, and we'll fine-tune the edge of the beds with an edger because I don't think the sod cutter does a super precise job, but all we're doing right now is just trying to remove a bulk of the sod. I'm standing in our front yard. This is the retaining wall over here, and you can see we've got the marking paint a little less than halfway from one end of the retaining wall to the driveway. So we have it marked here, and the bed is going to come up and curve a little bit and then kind of take another little curve back in and go straight all the way back to the brick wall, where we're also going to be removing this whole section of grass. And you can see the marking paint then starts to curve, and we go all the way out to the driveway where we're going to be removing this section of grass, which is 2 feet, and we're going to be planting a future boxwood hedge. Now, the only little question that we're trying to figure out is, what do we do with this little section? Because you don't want to leave a point here because that's going to be a little difficult to get in with a mower and mow the lawn. So I'm thinking, well, I'm going to leave it to Mo, but I think we're just going to take where it curves right here and just kind of go straight in, or maybe flare it out this way and just kind of remove this whole little triangle of a corner and get that all buttoned up and ready to go. So eventually what I'd like to do too is right over there where, here, let me go to the other side so you can get a better understanding. I've got all my pumpkins and everything lined up for our fall decorating project, but right here where the front porch ends, what I'd like to do is move these butterfly bushes because they actually got a little bit bigger than I anticipated. They're over 3 feet tall, which is great, but I think I need to bump them back a little because eventually I would like to put just some stepping stones coming in to where the bed is down there, where the walkway is, and maybe have it flare out in both directions so you can access the gate or the front porch from either direction, and kind of like a little secret path where there'll be boxwoods lining it here, but we can still access and go whichever direction. So it's not totally like blocked off, and it'll just come down here, and then somewhere around here, eventually it'll meet up. And then where this front gate is, let me turn it around for you. Sorry if I move too fast. I'm a little excited. So this is going to be, all this grass will be removed, and then eventually we're going to put flagstones down and create a walkway within the bed that will gradually just take a nice little curve and lead you to the front sidewalk, probably somewhere in the middle right here, so we can still plant some low growing things here, and it will lead you pretty much almost dead center to where the 2 red buds are. So it'll be a little access path. So if I swing back around, hi Shoo Shoo. Shoo is our foreman. He's going to be overseeing the whole thing. So then we'll have a little path that just kind of follows the outline of the bed and just takes a curve and goes in and stops right at the gate, and it'll connect with our secret path right there. I'm excited. So now let me show you what it looks like from the other end. So we took the marking paint, we took a measuring tape 2 feet from the edge of the driveway and just followed the natural contour of the walkway. And you can see we kind of have a little bend right here, 2 feet wide all the way down and around. And so all this strip of grass will eventually be a boxwood hedge. So it is a large section of grass that we're going to be removing. And fortunately, our neighbors down the street want the sod for replacing some patches in their backyard. So I told them, you are more than welcome to anything that we cut up in the front yard. I am so thankful that our neighbors want it because they can have all of it, and then they can get rid of anything that they don't use. So it works out perfectly. Everyone's happy. And so now we went and rented a sod cutter. Mo went out early this morning and picked it up. And so he's got it hooked up to the trailer, and we are going to get this whole thing unhooked, set up, and we're just going to get started on this. So let me show you the sod cutter real quick, because I've never used a sod cutter to cut sod or remove it. So this is all going to be kind of new to me. So it may look a little fumbly at first, but we'll get the hang of it. We'll find our groove. So there's the back of Mo's Jeep. There's our trailer, and this is the sod cutter. A little beast of a thing. It doesn't look like much, but it's like 400 pounds. But you can see, like right down here, there's the roller for it, and the blade to cut the sod is right there. And I do think that it is adjustable in the depth that it will go to cut the sod. And the good thing about this machine is that it does maneuver around like corners and contour. So it isn't just one of these where it just has to make a straight cut from one end to the other. We can kind of keep that line of that cutting line just kind of following the natural path of the bed. So really happy about that. Looks like a gas tank. So yeah. So Mo's going to be operating the sod cutter. I'm going to be going behind and cutting the sections of sod, rolling them up, putting them in our Gorilla Cart, and wheeling them down to our neighbors so they can get them installed. And I think we're just going to set up a few cameras and just capture everything because there's not too much to it. I may stop here and there and give you updates as we take breaks and whatnot, but I think it's going to be just a pretty simple, well, I'm hoping it's a simple project that we've got going here and we don't run into too much stuff. I did dig up the downspouts in the one front flower bed because again, I don't know how deep these are supposed to go, and I was a little anxious, like, oh my God, are we gonna be cutting so deep that we're gonna hit a downspout? So this is my little digging project right here. Front flower bed, this is where the lamb's ear was, and this is one of the downspouts. It's like 4 or 5 inches deep right here, but it does gradually get deeper because it needs to be on like a negative grade so the water flows. And then we've got this one right over here. So if I back up, we have a downspout that runs along the front porch rail, and then another one right down there. They both kind of meet somewhere underground right here into a Y, go right down here to the middle of the walkway. Let me just turn around. And then they both run all the way down under the sidewalk and pop up right there. So I don't think the depth of the downspouts is going to be an issue. We're not going to be cutting that deep into the grass, just enough to get the roots cut. And then we can roll everything up, deliver it to our neighbors, because I would like to get a layer of topsoil down, particularly in the front yard where it slopes to the sidewalk. Just in case it rains, I want to have topsoil and mulch covering it so we don't end up like we did with the retaining wall, where when it rains, it just kind of washes all of our lovely clay soil down into our neighbor's sidewalk. So I think I need one more cup of coffee, and then we're just gonna get to work. I've got my coffee. We are ready to roll. My gloves and kneeling pad. And I think I'll need a shovel. Let's see what we've got. This is why we need a shed, guys. It's like Tetris over here. I got my trenching shovel, my little rake, and the lovely sound of the train. They want it?
Yep.
Here we go. Is it sticking? So that's how deep it's cutting, you guys. Looks good. Yeah. Not too deep. It's funny because it doesn't look like it, but it's all just like a nice little cut. Oh, this is so exciting. Here we go, guys. Check this out, you guys. Look at that. Grab. Another grab. Ooh.
Heavy?
That is heavy.
Maybe we
It's
cut
not
it.
super heavy, but it's definitely got some weight to it. But that's just our soil. Guys, we are taking a little break to rest for a minute, have a little more coffee. But let me show you how far we've gotten so far, because I do think it's moving pretty fast. Although I will say this sod cutter is a little finicky. It likes to keep stopping and starting. And I think it may be, I don't know if it's like the hill or the slope. It doesn't like it, but it is a little tedious. It is a little finicky, I guess that's the word I'm going to use for the day. But all in all, I think we're doing really well. I think we're making really good progress. So minus the mess, which we'll come in and clean up, you can see that Mo came around and cut the edge of the bed in all the way back to where the gate is, and then he swooped around and went all the way up to the driveway. And we're gonna come back, he's gonna come back and pick up this little edge all the way around. And then I think we might just take this corner and maybe just kind of swoop it a little bit more. I don't want to cut it straight across, but you can see if we were to leave it, let me move that. If we were to leave it like a point, it'd be really hard to kind of mow or get an edger. So we'll probably round it off a little, connect it somewhere. But I think all in all, we still got to come in and do all this. This we'll probably do by hand, and there'll be a few more spots that we have to touch up by hand so we don't get too close to the brick. But all in all, you can kind of see everything is starting to take shape. Let me take you back to the gate and we'll kind of walk it. Looks good. There's our little new bed. Our walkway will come somewhere in between. So we'll have planting area here, planting area here, and then we just lead right on out to here and flow right to there. This is a great piece of equipment, but again, a little finicky. But all in all, it's looking really good. Really happy with it. I think Mo is doing an awesome job. And we will come in, once we get all of the sod removed, we'll come back in with shovels and, you know, scrape up any patches that we can't get with the sod cutter, do a little leveling and tidying up, cleaning up a little bit. We'll get the blower and blow up all this all this dirt and soil off the sidewalk so people are walking by, they're not walking in a bunch of messy concrete. And then we'll just kind of take it from there. So I think we're gonna continue our little coffee break right now and then finish up the little edging all around the front, and then we'll make our way to the back where we'll start on the back of the swale. And with that one, we'll probably get a tarp out or something. So all the pieces of sod that we remove, we'll either put on the tarp and then put in contractor bags, or we'll just put them straight in contractor bags and get rid of those. So, all right, a little more coffee and we're back at it. All right, guys, I just want to give you an update on the backyard. We pretty much have hit every area with the sod cutter, and now we are just rolling everything up and putting it on a tarp. I think Mo has got a friend who may come and pick all this up, which would be fantastic. But we got the back part done really quickly. So we still have a little bit of manual scraping up to do, but you can see this whole area completely gone. And we will be fine-tuning all of this stuff around the arborvitae and as we do a little weeding and regrading. But yeah, this actually was, I would think, a lot easier than the front yard with that slope in front. And this is all the sod from that whole area over here. That is massive. Look at that. So hopefully Mo's friend will come and take all of this away. In the meantime, Mo is going to get the sod cutter back on the trailer and get that returned. And I am going to run to a doctor appointment real quick because I've got a bite on my leg and I just want to make sure that it's not a tick bite because it looks a little weird. So I just want to be sure. So we're going to do that, break for lunch, and then we'll be back in a little bit. All right, guys, so I am back from the doctor. He did, in fact, determine that it was a tick bite, so he put me on a preventative round of antibiotics just to be safe. And then I went and picked up lunch for Mo and I. We sat inside, rested, had some lunch, and then we were looking through the dining room window and realized we had to remove all the sod that we had sitting on the tarp in the backyard, because had we left it, the tarp would have smothered the lawn underneath, and that's not the lawn that we wanted to get rid of. So we ended up, after lunch, just coming out here and laying a tarp in the driveway and just loading up the gorilla cart with all the rolled up sod pieces and transferred all of them to the front yard in the driveway where they can sit and kind of dry out a little bit in the sun. That way they'll be a lot lighter to transport once all that moisture comes out of all the soil. So that's where they're gonna sit. I didn't pop up a camera for that. I didn't even think about it until we were like 3/4 of the way done, and I'm like, all right. So anyways, I apologize for that, but we are calling it for the day because we got a lot done. And I never realize until I'm actually in the project of sod removal just how labor intensive it is. So the fact that we were able to cut all of this sod, roll it up, get rid of all the sod to our neighbor, all the sod from the front yard. Our neighbor took it, he laid it down already, it looks really good. And then just moving all of sod from the backyard to the front yard, leveling everything. It was just a lot. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna walk you around real quick and show you how it all looks for now. And then now I can take my time and come out here, I think tomorrow or the next day, level off the backyard a little bit and put some landscape fabric down, some more topsoil and mulch, and kind of just take my time developing this back area and the front. The most important thing and the most strenuous was the sod removal. And since we got that out of the way, I'm like, okay, that job is pretty much done. We still have like some corners and edges that we need to manually come in with a shovel and just scrape up, but all in all, I am so happy with it. So I'm gonna take you around real quick, show you the backyard. We'll walk out to the front yard and you get to see it all. Okay, so we're right at the end of the butterfly garden where the swale begins, and you can see the swale right along here going all the way down, and then right at the edge of the swale back, this is where we scraped and removed all the sod. And oh, doesn't it look so good? Now we still have some fine tuning to do and some more scraping right around the tree roots. We didn't want to go too close to the tree roots, but all in all, that sod cutter, as finicky as it was, it really did make this job so much easier. Because can you imagine if we had to do this all by hand? Ugh. And then right over here, this is the corner where we have to manually just cut and remove ourselves. But all in all, let me pan around this way. It looks good. The edging is just a little neat, but you know, again, we can come in later and take the edger and just fine tune everything. But God, that looks so good. So happy with that. And now let's take a walk through the vegetable garden to the front yard where sod removal project 2 is. And you can see from the gate. Ooh, so exciting. I need to grease this gate, you guys. Sorry. Okay, so we're at the vegetable garden. This is where the fig tree was. And let's walk through. And you can see, oh, it's all gone. All the sod is gone. I love it. This is the little corner piece that I was talking to you guys about earlier. We need to kind of come in and I think round it off a little, but if we go this way, this is where the boxwood hedge is going to be. And you can see we still, like I said, we still have some fine tuning and some leveling to do, but oh my gosh, I'm going to be so excited to get this whole area ready to plant. And this is the tarp and our this is our current driveway right now. It is like a drying rack for the sod. We'll just pan back around, and there we start from here. Now all this is going to be boxwood hedging, so just imagine that. And then eventually I would like to come in with some little stepping stones and kind of make a little hidden walkway shortcut, and then it can just kind of flare out either way, so you can go either way. And then we have all of this area. Now just picture, let me back up. I'm going to back up to the gate again. So eventually we'll have flagstones, and we'll walk the path of the flagstones, and we'll just slightly curve, and the flagstones should eventually drop you off like right here, which is pretty much dead center here. And then we'll have a little bit of area on each side to plant it up a little bit, maybe with some ground cover, so it kind of covers the edge of the flagstones, and it kind of softens it up a little. We've got somebody doing construction, so that's the noise that you guys hear. And let me just turn it back around. Look at that. And that's so exciting. Oh, it looks so good. And I think I'm going to plant a tree right here. A narrow tree. It gets 30 feet tall, but only 3 to 4 feet wide. And that, I think, is going to be a green arrow Alaskan cedar. All right, guys, we're going to make our way into the backyard because they're doing construction out there and it is really noisy. But I am just so happy that we were able to get this first part of the project done, that being the sod removal, because, you know, in my head, I always think, you know, oh, no problem, we can get this done, it won't take too long, and it didn't take too long. That sod cutter was amazing. It was so helpful. But the one thing I always forget is just how labor intensive it all is, because that sod and that soil together, they're so heavy. And even those rolls that we cut up, each roll was probably 18 inches wide and like 3 to 4 feet long. They're heavy. And when you're doing that lifting over and over and over, it's tiring. It'll wear you out, but it's definitely a good workout. Anyways, I'm glad that you guys were able to come along and see the first, I guess the first leg of this whole I don't want to say transformation, but kind of is a little bit. But anyways, I'm just glad that you guys got to see this part. I'll show you more as we continue it, but we don't have to rush super fast on it because, like I said, the sod removal was the biggest thing. So now all I'm going to do for the backyard is landscape fabric, topsoil mulch, and hopefully we can get that done soon and let that area settle. And we'll kind of do the same thing to the front. I'm kind of debating if I want to put landscape fabric down just temporarily in the front yard for maybe one season, just to kind of help kill any of that grass, the grass roots that we didn't get, because those roots are so deep and so established. And we didn't get the sod cutter to go super deep into the soil, probably like 2 inches or so, 2.5. So yeah, I don't know, contemplating that, the landscape fabric, because while I don't want to put it everywhere, I do understand that it does have its uses. So I don't know. Well, I guess we'll just see. I'll let you know as soon as I know. Anyways, guys, I am going to get myself cleaned up and relax for the rest of the evening and come back at this very soon. And I will bring you guys along too. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.